All right. What's up, everybody? We are live. Welcome to the building. I see the community is here. Let me bring the comments on stage. And boom, welcome to the fam. I like the energy, Kangari hot in the chat as we kick off. And we've got an absolutely packed stream today, guys. So I'm going to get rickety right into it. Welcome to the crew. Thank you so much for joining my peeps. And let's see the crew join as we go along. Smash the like, share it to your friends and family. Let's get the fam in the building. I see everybody hopping on, and a huge warm welcome to all of you. I have been missing the community. I have been working hard on the tutorials, so it's all worth it, my peeps, on the free courses. But you know what? I have been missing this community greatly, and let's get straight into it. Giam, welcome. Lovely to have you. Juan Carlo, victory in the building. All right, please confirm for me if everything is loud and clear, guys. Are we all good? The stream health looks fine. Let's roll with it. You should now be seeing my screen. I'm going to go quickly into my current trades. I've had some very nice trades from last night. We got this beautiful sniper entry on Ethereum, which is now sitting in a 500+ percentage ROI. This was market cipher, money flow, and divergences on the lower time frames. I was watching the resistance. I waited for the market cipher signal, and we got in there. I have taken most of the profits off the table, but we do have a little bit riding, and in our analysis today, we're going to figure out, are we going to let some more of this play out, or are we going to take the rest of the profits off the table? But either way, it has been nice. We've also got a pretty nice short here on BNB. Also, most profits taken off the table, letting a little bit ride. XRP has also been quite a nice one, almost 300% ROI at current on the 75X. I love that you can trade 75X on XRP on Bybit. It's pretty cool. The ADA has also been a nice dumper, 459% on the ROI. Also nice to have a 75X on ADA because it doesn't move as much as some of the alts. The XRP is crazy because you got the 75X on a coin that does move like crazy. And then I've also got the Atom, pretty nice, and the Avalanche. A lot of you guys know my style. When I see Bitcoin doing a dumperoonie, when I see market cipher giving me the right signal for a big Bitcoin trend, what I often go and do is I'll just hop on the altcoins, right? With that trend, I'll open about 10 altcoin trades on the trend, and sometimes I don't even trade Bitcoin, right? Because the fees on Bitcoin are higher for high leverage trading, and if you want to hop on a scalp, sometimes it's better to actually just trade the altcoins. And I actually left BTC out of this one, and yeah, ETH has been the nice one. We can see that in the past evening I've racked up some pretty decent P&L, so we're in a good space there. I also have been trading on the MUBITE funded account, which has been a really fun way to trade because it's so risk managed. I mean, the account costs pretty much, well, it's all relevant, but the account for the $5,000 funded account costs only about $50 with my discount. And then you're trading with real money, and all that you're risking losing is the account which you paid $50 for. So yeah, it's been like a little bit of a breath of fresh air trading on the MUBITE account again, because you can just breathe a little bit more, right? You're making real money, but your risk is very well managed. Okay, so I've got a lot that I want to get through today, and I do have some cool announcements for the community as well, so we'll get into it. I think, let me make these comments slightly smaller. I think, no, let's keep them big. That looks good, right? Just let me know if the comments do cover anything important on the charts, and I really want to keep it rapid fire today, so forgive me if I do miss some of the comments in the chat, but please do keep it hot. I am very, very impressed with how the crew has been working in the Discord. So well done to those of you who are being very active in the Discord. It's super, super cool. This is how you learn, right? You will not make it if you don't have a community. And, you know, to have people in our community who are slightly better, more advanced, those who are starting out, and for everybody to be dropping their setups like this is an absolute hotspot hub for learning. Super, super cool. So I would urge everybody, even if it feels silly, if you feel like your setup maybe doesn't make sense, or if you're a bit shy to drop it in here, just drop it in, let the pros help you out a little bit, and of course, drop your P&L for us to see. And don't feel like you only have to drop positive P&Ls here. If you are struggling, drop your negative P&L and drop your trading setup so the more advanced traders can help you. And we were having a little bit of a chat here about how hard the market is. Currently, it is choppy. It is running on fundamentals. The fundamentals are absolutely cooked because they're geopolitical, coming from the US, and it's such a mess, right? It's a hard time to trade, and it's not a time to give up. If anything, it's maybe a time to hit demo if you are struggling and stay on demo for a while. We are going to have a nice chat about the learning curve and a little bit of the psychology involved there a little bit later, but let's get into some TA at first. And then I also have some cool announcements when it comes to the Discord and some other fun stuff. But for now, let's get into the zone and let's do our top-down analysis on Bitcoin from the monthly time frame. I'm going to go pretty rapid fire on this, but let's just do our due diligence here, right? So Bitcoin on the monthly time frame, we can see that the RSI is finally giving a little bit of a turnaround for the first time since its major dump from the double bears. And this is a nice sign, and it is something that we can use in our analysis. And going back to our previous bear market bottom, we can see that it's giving us a little bit of a tail here, right? It's telling us a story. This was the first real uptick past the zero line on our RSI, or past the 50 line on its way to the bottom, and we can see that that was really the start of our bear winter accumulation zone before the bull market. And I do feel like something very similar could be playing out here. As you can see, we've just had a little bit of an uptick here on the RSI, and this could be the start of our actual accumulation bear winter period. And I think, to be honest, in my opinion, it's a guessing game, but I think it could take a little bit longer than it did from that previous section. That was, around 214 days, right? To me, that seems about right. And it all makes sense as we go into the further analysis to see that it would just make sense for us to, now that we have made lower lows, to also sweep the liquidity lower down. All right, lovely to see the crew. Thank you for hopping on, Mr. Bitby. Nice to see you. Very welcome, welcome. Ike in the building. Okay, the crew is here. JCG, where's JCG? Yeah, he's been keeping the group hot, right? Very, very hot. All right, Silas in the building. I see you. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Okay, I'm going to do this because it is due diligence, guys. Every time we do a major analysis, we should be starting from the monthly time frame. And what's great to see here on the candle reading is that we do have 5 days left in this double candle pattern formation. I hope you have been watching the price action candle reading tutorials that I have been dropping. They might seem beginner, right, for the pros, but actually super important, guys, to learn your price action candle reading so that you're reading the charts like a samurai, because if you're not, you're just blind to the story that the charts are telling you. All right, so we do see the harami. Let me know if I am going too fast today, but I always get too bogged down on Bitcoin, right? And I want to go into market charts, I want to go into altcoin setups, and I want to have a little bit of a psychological conversation, because I can see a lot of that conversation going on in the community. And I've also had some personal conversations in the community, which I think are really valuable for everybody to get some insights into, as well as my own personal history. Oh, JCG is here. JCG is Juan Carlos, and now your name makes so much more sense to me, bro. All right, JCG, Juan Carlos Gonzalez Carrera. Okay, so J, C is Juan Carlos, and then G. Dude, I've always wondered why it's J, C, G, C. Now I get it, bro. And thank you so much. Like, literally from the bottom of my heart, thank you for dropping your trades in the community, man. Like, you are helping everybody when you do that. You are not only journaling for yourself, which is so important and so often not done, but you're also helping everybody else, and you're trading as a community. And I'll be very honest, I was losing money 100% until I found a community and started building my own community. For me, it is the most important thing. All right, and I also want us to all start using Husseini's trading journal app, right? I will drop the link for that. I do have it now, and yeah, it's super cool. You can just connect your API from your trading exchange to the journal, and it will journal everything for you. Super, super cool. At the end of the month, you can look over all of your trades. You can even make notes on the trades, and it saves you that hassle of like, oh, now I have to like type in each trade entry, like where the stop was hit, or was it a take profit. I love it, right? I love Husseini. He's a really ambitious, beautiful, bright young student from Nigeria. And yeah, beautiful app that he's created. All right, so here we go. We have the Harami. I've been looking at this Harami pattern the entire month, and now we have 5 days left. Of course, this pattern does not need to play out, but it is a very nice bullish pattern to see if it does if it does print. Christian Clausen, are you new, bro? Are you new? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, a lot of you will know about the Harami pattern. We can even see a little fall below in the next monthly candle, but really we could see a very nice move up from here, just given the win rate of the Harami as a bullish reversal pattern. All right, otherwise on the monthly, we can clearly see, and this is why I love to zoom out, right? We can see what's happened here. If we look at these candle bodies and we drop a horizontal line there, we can see how many other candle bodies, how many other wicks, what a perfect support and resistance flip it is on this monthly time frame. And if we are very honest with ourselves and we drop another horizontal line there down at the 49K, again, we can see what a perfect level this would be. And of course, it's not a level, it's a zone, but I just want to drop this level on the charts because I've seen... Oh, you're CLSN. All right, beautiful. Guys, try to make your Discord names and your YouTube names the same because y'all are confusing me every time, but I'm getting to know it, so all good, all good. CLSN, thank you also for being active in the Discord. I have witnessed your trades, and yeah, it's lovely to have you in the community. All right, so it's nice to understand these larger zones, and here we can actually get a little bit of an idea of if this real crypto winter accumulation whale bear market zone kicks in. It's quite easy to see by dropping in these monthly levels where our zones would be. Can you give me a loading there? We might need to go to an older chart to see further support and resistance. But these are the extreme levels we're looking at, and you need to be logical with yourself here, guys. If this scares you, then there's something wrong, and you need to obviously reposition yourself. This should excite you. Right? Did everybody watch my video on how to buy the fear in a smart way on the Coin Bureau podcast channel? It's a huge amount of very, very OG knowledge, right? That doesn't come from me. It comes from huge OGs like Warren Buffett. And it's very important to understand how to position yourself within this potential drop so that you're not freaking out, right? You're greedy when others are fearful. Of course, if we drop here, everybody's gonna absolutely SH1T their pants. But you should be like, yes, we just dropped to another level. My limit orders just went off. I'm DCAing. I'm in a position of power into the fear. So I hope everybody's watched that video. I know, some of the longer term strategies might seem more boring, but those are the strategies that can pull you through this winter. And just think about it. If you buy this dip like an OG all the way down to the bottom, the next bull market back to all-time high or further up, getting these lower entries, and we're actually going to try smash the bottom. We're going to try swing trade the bottom on high leverage, right? We're going to start on low leverage. And when we see the turnaround, we're going to increase the leverage. And to get those long trades on the DCA, on the limit entries, on the low leverage and the high leverage is what can make you real generational wealth in the next bull market. And we've got the next, I would say, around 250 days to do this, right? So there's no rush. We just need to be smart about it. And of course, we can also day trade in between. Oh, McCall in the building. Let's go. Let's go. Monthly support, easy to remember. 66666. Super cool. Love it, man. Love it. Jeffrey in the building. All right, McCall, lovely to have you here, man. And thank you so much, as always, for keeping it hot in the Discord, guys. We're becoming a real team there. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I really love it. All right, so not too much to see on the monthly market cipher. We're very aware money flow is still tanking straight down, right? VWAP has now started to turn around. Remember, the signal we're looking for on VWAP is not really the turnaround, but it is the cross. And yeah, it is interesting to see, right? That VWAP does look like it's starting to bottom out. Money flow is still coming down, although if we really look at it, we can see that the slope is starting to turn around on the money flow. This kind of larger market cipher money flow, VWAP, very, I would say, nuanced analysis on curvature is super important, right? Because that's where market cipher starts to become the absolutely pro asset that you can use. And I mean, it all makes sense, really, right? If we look at this as somewhere where the bear market is starting to give some support, but we still need potential lower levels, then this all makes sense. Money flow coming down heavily, but just starting to change in its curve, and VWAP starting to bottom out, but not yet actually crossing up, right? It all makes sense. It's going to take a lot of longer time for VWAP to come up and cross, as well as for money flow's curve to turn around. All right, then we also see wave trend. It's behind the VWAP, but we can see that wave trend has now crossed over the zero line, but it's still tanking. And that's also very nice to see, because what we really want for our bear market bottom is this, nice and clear. We want wave trend on the monthly to come all the way down, which is also a very clear sign to me. It ain't even nearly over yet, y'all. All right, we got a long way to go before we can call the bear market bottom, and before we can start to open those massive long swing trades that we're going to ride all the way through the next bull market. Oh, I love to see the crew hopping on one by one. Abdul in the building. All right, if you are here, please do drop us a message. Do not be a ghost in my chat. Do not be a lurker. You are welcome, of course, if you are driving or just watching or eating or being with your family. But I want everybody in the chat to be dropping me messages. Let me know how you're doing. All right, beautiful. Abdul in the building. And can you smash the likes for me, guys? Let's get this community bigger, right? Every time you smash a like, it'll go out to someone new on the algorithm, and our community grows. And the more our community grows, the more our minds can expand with new ideas. Quite simple as that. All right, so let's see if we're not missing anything out here on the monthly. I think the parallel channel is something, that's quite important here to understand. Our market structure has been annihilated. And yeah, a possible scenario that we could see here, I've spoken about this quite a few times, is that now that we have broken market structure, it's not to say that it's all down. Right? It's not to say that it's all down. That's not how our markets work. Our markets go up and down. But now that we have broken our market structure of higher lows and higher highs, we have put in a lower low, and this means we should come in to put in a lower high. And for me, this lower high could either come here at the support and resistance flip, which is quite clear at the bottom of the monthly parallel channel, or it could come in here. Right, which would be pretty gnarly, because as we know, of course, so much retail would ape into longs here, and this would be the interesting moment. Do we get the triple bearish divergence here, which would mean one more higher price at the top of the channel? And this is a possibility, guys. We get a triple divergence here on the monthly time frame. So nothing is set in stone, right? No one has a crystal ball, and if they're making predictions here and saying they think they know what's up, don't trust anyone, right? Don't trust anyone, because the only people you should be trusting are those who say, look for the zones, then look for the entry signals at the zones. And the zones for me are very, very clear. Boom, boom, boom. And when we get the divergences or the major trigger waves at those zones, those will be the swing trade shorts on the monthly. And I want to try to get everybody into the habit of trading the monthly and the weekly, as well as your day trading and your scalping, because these monthly trades can be your earners that you're pulling profits out of to support your day trading and your scalping, right? Day trading and scalping at the moment it's really, really tough. Right, the markets are super choppy. The TA is being overridden by the fundamentals. And if you can just get in these nice swing trades, right, like if you're short from the top here at this bearish divergence that was so clear, you've made so much money on the way down that you can keep taking profits, which you can support your nasty day trading and scalping habits. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we all want to be scalpers, right? But it's gnarly trading with the 100x, and stop losses do happen. Liquidations do happen. They shouldn't. You should all be using stop losses way before your liquidations. But shit happens when you are scalping and you want to be making these long-term swing trades. All right, so I'm not going to get bogged down today. I'm going to do my analysis. I'm actually going to try within an hour, right? I want to do full Bitcoin. I want to do full market charts, and I want to do full altcoins and have a little bit of a psychological chat. All right, so weekly time frame. It is nice to see that we are printing now. Trigger wave here on the weekly, which is a little bit of a positive sign. What is happening with that candle? Oh, that's a little green box I've got going there. All right, so we've got this kind of club foot looking pattern happening here on the weekly. Super weird, super strange. And this just shows manipulation, right? This is because the Clarity Act is causing issues, war is causing issues. This is not a very normal pattern for us to see on the weekly time frame. The giant wick we were talking about being swept, that liquidity at the top of the giant wick has been swept. Now we're getting a tweezer pattern, we're getting a harami right there. It's all over the show and it's messy. It's just not nice to look at, right? So please take it easy, guys. My advice really to those who are in their first 3 years of trading right now is to move on to a demo account and just really hone that trading plan and make sure you are also focusing on other industries, right? It's hard to be a full-time trader, especially in those first 3 years. Make sure you are making money in other ways so that you can stack some capital to trade with and preserve that capital right now while things are so messy. Things are going to be they're going to be better, right? They're going to get better. We've been here for 3 or 4 cycles, some of us, and we go through these times where it's really hard to trade, and a lot of people quit during this time. Even people who have been trading for the last 2 or 3 years are quitting right now because it's like this. We're going to talk about it, right? The valley of despair. Like, look at this week. Look at these weekly candles. Everybody's getting stopped out left, right, and center, and it seems impossible. And this is the time where you can move back onto demo so that you can just preserve your capital and not get wrecked all over the place. Okay, weekly money flow we can see is coming up. We've got the green dot, although the wave trend is not giving us the right curve, right? You can see the wave trend is curving like that when we want to see it curving like this. And we can also see that our VWAP is starting to turn around to come back down. So it's not very convincing on the bullish signal on the weekly. It's also not the bullish divergence on the weekly, which is really what I want to see here for a bottom or a reversal in this zone back up towards a lower high at the top. All right, I want to see an actual weekly bull. And if anything, we're going to see this. We're going to see the weekly rifle pattern. Very proud of the crew to see how you guys are watching my tutorials and learning from it. I see you guys even in your day trading and your scalping, starting to use the rifle pattern. It's superpower. I can see that you're using it. I'm very, very impressed. And this is what we want to see on this weekly time frame. And it seems almost like we're still at the beginning of major dumps. We want to see a bull, right? We'll take the bull and we'll manage our risk. 1 to 1, R to R, we'll bring our stop to break even. We'll get stopped out above our entry. The bull will be strong. It's a weekly bull. But if the manipulation comes in, we're going to get out of that trade and we're going to re-enter the trade at the manipulation trigger wave, right? Because that's when the real smart money is going to drive price up. They're first going to wreck everybody because the bullish divergence on the weekly is too easy to spot. Then we're going to get the weekly trigger wave, right? And that's going to be where the real trick comes in. And yeah, super cool, man. A lot of you guys are going to get this on the weekly because I see that you've been practicing this rifle on the daily time frame and even on the 1 hour time frames on your alts. Well done. Pat yourself on the back if you have been using the rifle pattern because it's really cool, man. It's OG. That's the real Market Cypher trigger wave. And now that the crew is becoming more familiar with Market Cypher, I'm going to start going into some very, very in-depth, nuanced Market Cypher lore, right? Market Cypher is almost like a world in itself that you have to start to understand. And I'm also going to be talking about how to, we've been focusing on reversals basically, and now I can see that some of the crew is starting to want to understand Market Cypher in terms of continuations. And of course, there are really, really nice strategies there for market cipher and continuation trading. So yeah, I'm going to work on it. I've also got a cool video dropping tomorrow that I have to edit tonight, which is why I'll be hopping off. It's not going to be such a long live stream today, but that video tomorrow is on the Clarity Act, right? And what's happening there and why everything is such a mess, and also why it's not really going to get better anytime soon, right? The Clarity Act is... It's an absolute mess, guys. No one is agreeing with anyone, and it's not as good as it seems. But anyway, I'm going to drop full fundamentals on that tomorrow. And weekly candle reading, also looking super messy, right? We're getting the tweezer, but we're not getting the bearish engulfing. Now we're getting a harami here also with 3 days left. And really, it starts to become a little bit more clear now as we go to the daily. The daily candles are looking a little bit easier to understand. We have this channel here, which was really nicely broken to the downside, retested, and giving us our dump. That's where I opened my previous short trades. My first short trades I opened in this dump here all the way down through there. They were really nice. Those were my MUBITE funded account short trades on ETH, Solana, and XRP. And then my more recent trades were just at the major rejection here. And you can see on the 4-hour on Market Cipher, that's where the signals came in for the nice dump there. We can see daily is just, it's super squeezy, super confusing. Massive volatility is going to come in soon. Yeah, 100%. So don't feel like you're alone if you've just been banging your head against the wall with day trading and scalping, guys, because it hasn't been pretty. Right? It hasn't been fun. It's been really, really bad. And it's not just the newbies, right? It's the pros and the intermediate traders who are also suffering in this. Because think about it, right? We've got war, which is like this, nobody really even knows how war should affect our charts, right? Because when war breaks out, some people are actually going into Bitcoin as a safe haven because they're seeing higher levels of authoritarian regimes on their banking fiat in the regions who are involved. And then it also creates a lot of fear, which also brings people out of crypto. So actually what it's doing is just creating uncertainty and volatility, which is why we get these massive wicks and these massive dojis. And then we also have these geopolitics, which are now super controversial, right? There's like these two factions that are breaking apart now because even some major cryptocurrency CEOs are for and against the act. We also have certain banks who are for and against the act. And really these times in crypto, yes, they're bad for scalping, right? And they're bad for day trading, but they're super good for the long term because what's happening is a major shakeout, first of all, at these levels, and also much more dust settling on clarity. And this is what needs to happen in these bear markets. All right, awesome to see everybody here. All right, so it looks a lot more simple here on the daily, although Market Cipher is extremely confused. And it does look like we're seeing a nice pie happening, right? So one of the one of the OG ways to read money flow, and I know it's a little bit confusing, but we look at it like a pie, right? And I'm going to start talking about this, and we're not going to be able to understand it fully today. But when you look at a Market Cipher curve, especially on these larger timeframes on your money flow, you look at where money flow starts to come into the red, and then you look at the curve and you try and estimate basically by cutting out the noise, where does this curve look like it's going to end? And then you look at this pie and you cut this pie into thirds, right? McCall will know what I'm talking about. Anyone who's watched J. Casper for the last few years will know what I'm talking about. And you look at the money flow as a pie, right? It literally looks like a pie shape. And you look at 2/3. You cut the pie into thirds. And yeah, maybe I'll make a video about this so it's easier for everybody. But the third section of the pie is usually where you will see money flow starting to turn around and get better. And that's actually a place where you can start to see your early signs of reversal. And it does become really useful even on the lower time frames, even though things are more choppy. If you can start to cut out the noise in your money flow and see it as this pie into 2/3. and I'll make a full video on it where I'll go back and show you all of the previous examples, but start to look at it like that and it will amaze you, right? How the third part of the pie starts to give you your reversal. Okay, so we're looking at this range on the daily, and I'm actually really loving the 4-hour time frame at current. But it's very clear to see that, of course, we have a very strong range. And if we look at our ultimate extreme resistances and supports, we've got a beautiful trading range with a very, very nice median line. And this gives us our beautiful fixed range volume profile. What time frame you use with Market Cipher? Absolute multi-time frame analysis. All right, it's one of the most difficult things to understand about Market Cipher is how to make sure that you are matching certain things on lower time frames with certain things on higher time frames. All right, it's one of the fractalized things with Market Cipher that takes a very long time to understand. But yeah, I'm loving this parallel channel on the daily, really, really nice. And we can see here that where we will start to look for our fake outs and our longs at support is quite a clear zone. And very nice to see that our shorts have been coming in at a certain level, which is also going to help us out once we get back up there. McCall knows about the pie. Let's go, bro. Starts the pump after money flow. Spend a lot of time either in the green. All right, guys, so I'm not crazy, right? I'm not just hungry talking about pies. It's a super OG, really, really high margin, high frequency trader strategy, right? To see the money flow as a pie cut into 2/3. It's a crypto face Jason Casper strategy, and it really works. It just helps you to understand the money flow because money flow can be really choppy. All right, so we're dropping the fixed range volume profile on this daily, and we can see a few things have changed here. But yeah, very nice to see, right? When we were at POC, I was saying, okay, it looks like POC is holding us up. Let's go back up to value area high and see if we get rejected there. And, you know, this is why my trades have been relatively good, because I closed out my shorts at the POC when I saw the momentum coming in on the green side. And then I opened my new shorts. I opened a couple of longs here, right? But I try not to open trades at the POC. It's just bad, right? You don't open trades at the POC, you open your trades at the value areas. So I let my shorts ride, then I closed them out when I saw the big green coming in, and then I opened my new shorts here. And now really I'm waiting for final TP on my shorts back at POC. As you can see, I've taken out most of the margin from my short trades, and we can also see here a front run of this level, right? We didn't hit that level there, and we haven't hit that level here, so I do think we could see a test of this bottom of the parallel channel. And really what we're looking for here is something like this, right? These breakdowns below this channel for a nice move down into the value area low. And on the lower time frames, we've gone through this quite a few times. If you go into the Discord, you will also see under my TA, right, all of my swing trading zones. And these are super juicy, guys. These are really, really nice 1 hour, 4 hour overlap bullish OBs down at 63.6 and 62.7. I think those are going to be some really nice sniper entries. Make sure you're not doing this willy-nilly. You're using the right entry signals. But it's deep in the FRVP value area low. And then we have these really nice sniper shorts. We got to be careful of these shorts because we are seeing upward sloping resistance, right? So when you're taking these shorts, it's low margin and tight stops, because they could be really nice swing trades, but you have to be able to say, I'm willing to get stopped out, right? I'm risking what I'm willing to lose on those trades. If we get a nice signal, if we get a nice reaction, I'll open them, because there is a high possibility that we could actually make a slightly higher high here up to that resistance on the weekly, right? And I'm not going to go too deeply into these 1 hour, 4 hour order blocks now, because it's all there and nothing's changed, right? The analysis is on the Discord under my trading charts. All right, so I also just want to quickly chat about something with the crew before we go into the 4 hour. I want to see how everybody feels about this. I did mention it in the trading setup charts, but I do have a group of pro trader friends who are full-time traders who are running a very nice group, which is basically an exclusive internal pro trader group where they share their charts with each other. And yeah, these are personal friends of mine that I've met, you know, through traveling to all of the major pro trading events. And I have been backtesting their strategies and their setups over the last year with, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, an over 75% win rate, right? So I want to be clear with everyone. These are not my setups. These are my friends' setups who are pro traders, but they have allowed me to share their setups with the community, right? These are really cool guys. They're making money and they don't mind helping out other communities. Y'all know I'm super busy making my courses, and I do want to keep focusing on these courses because this is how everybody can grow really easily. But I do see that the community is needing a bit of alpha, right? The community is just needing some setups to work with on a daily basis. And there are scalp setups being dropped there on a daily basis, and there are swing setups being dropped there. There are also just pro trader charts, right? Total 3 squeezes, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin, all of that. And it's quite complicated for me to be able to set up an automatic forwarding. I have been looking into it, but what I am going to do to start is I'm going to Jay's live at the same time. Oh my gosh. I'm going to ask Jay to come on the stream here. Then you're going to see the OG giving you a market cipher masterclass. All right, I'll chat to him about that. All right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start forwarding some of these pro traders setups to a little channel in the Discord, right? I'll make a channel here under my channel, Jordan's tier. I'm just going to make a pro traders charts NFA, right? These are my friends. Guys, please don't just enter these trades. These trades are going to be dropped there for you to get ideas on a daily basis. And I want you to use your noggins, right? If you go and just enter them, of course you can. They are going to be dropped with entry and stop loss and leverage like a signal. You can go and just trade them if you are really struggling, but please manage your margin, right? I'm talking literally 1 to 5% of your account per trade because it's win rate, right? They're not all going to be winning trades. Any trader who says he has 100% win rate or she is lying, right? Trades will be lost, but the majority of trades will be won. So you have to manage your margin. And the idea here is for you to have these as possible scenarios and setups that you can go and use all of the knowledge that we've been building to see if you want to enter the trades. So give me a yes or a no in the chat if you think that I should do this, if you think it will be helpful. And I will start going to the effort of every time they drop something cool, I'll have a quick look at it and I'll drop it, but it's completely NFA, right? And it's not coming from me, but it's coming from traders that I do respect. All right, so let me know how you feel about that. And let's go quickly onto the 4 hour because there's a few quick things I want to look at here on this 4 hour time frame. All right, first of all, let's just keep it simple. And let's bring up our 4 hour RSI. Is everybody alive? Let me know what you think about having the other pro traders charts in the Discord. And let me know, are you gonna respect it, or are you just gonna put your whole accounts on it and over margin? Are you gonna manage your risk? Because as long as you're managing your risk, I'm happy to do it, right? But yeah, please let me know. Is the chat working, guys? Is the chat working? Are y'all just listening? All right, so RSI we can see is coming down here on the 4 hour. Our last 4 hour bullish divergence on the RSI on the 4 hour time frame played out really nicely. So I will be looking out for the next one there. It was technically a hidden bull, but it was also one of the reasons that I did close out my short trades, right? Because if you get a bullish divergence on the 4 hour like this with such a nice angle, you can take it as a sign of a major reversal, right? And what we have seen now is that 4 hour RSI, first of all, did not come up to the top, did not make a bearish divergence of any kind, but we are seeing that it topped out, it crossed over the 50 line within the momentum zone, and it does look like it's heading down. We are seeing a little bit of a new market structure now playing out here. And yeah, it's this major channel which I think is quite important to draw in, and we can see that we're struggling below it right now, and we have to keep our eyes on this. Is this a fakie below this, or if we do get rejected from this level, are we going to see a nice dump, which is actually what I'm looking for, right? We want that dump down into the value area low. All right, let me just take a look at my notes here so I don't miss anything out. Oh yeah, are you guys seeing this? It does not actually look like it's playing out, right? And not every pattern has to play out. Actually looks like it's been invalidated now, but we were looking at this inverted head and shoulders. Which seems to have just absolutely invalidated itself. So let's keep our eyes on this, but I'm no longer looking at this as a pattern for a breakout with a nice target. If anything, we're looking at this more like a new little micro range and looking out for a triple bottom, double bottom, any of those kinds of W patterns here. All right, nice. Was also interesting to see some of the analysis coming in that last Bybit global stream. Guys, is this chat working? Just drop me a message in the chat. Are y'all just focusing? Is the chat working? And yeah, it's actually quite an apt bit of analysis here that we have been seeing upward sloping support at the bottom here. And we have been seeing relatively flat resistance. It's not ideal. It's not perfectly precise, but it does look kind of like an ascending triangle here. So we need to keep our eyes on this. Really, only time will tell if this is a bear flag, if this is a falling wedge, if this is a rising wedge, because really you can see what you want to see here. And yeah, if it is a bear flag, it does, of course, have quite a decent target to the downside. And we will need catalysts for this, but this is really what can drive us down towards our bottom out levels. We need one more crazy smash, right? This is what we really need, is one more absolutely awesome smash down to lower levels so that we can start our bear market accumulation zone. And yeah, the bear flag doesn't have to play out, but if it does, it would be really nice. Okay, so I'm not going to go into those 1 hour OBs because I dropped that in my last Bitcoin TA video. So check it out on my channel if you need it. And I dropped the charts into my Discord, right? Okay, so a quick look at these. One thing we didn't look at here that I want to quickly check out. I've been hearing about this 200 weekly EMA. Which I think can be quite interesting. And there it is, sitting on that 200-week EMA. If we lose this weekly EMA, that's when we could see further downside for the shorter and, you know, another cross, another kind of death cross, which means we could see lower levels on price. And alternatively, we could get the move up here to the resistance of that moving average. All making sense, right? Okay, now I see the chat coming through. Okay, awesome. So it just seems like there was a delay on the chat, but now I see it, guys. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are going to respect it, right? And you're going to manage your risk if I drop charts that aren't mine, right? Charts that aren't mine, guys, but you're going to manage your risk. All right, cool. So we have to move. This is not going to be a long stream. I'm going to power through here and let's just do a couple of quick market charts. And then we're going to have a little bit of a chat. All right, so first of all, on the market charts, I like to always have a look at my USDT dominance. And it's nice to see that our levels are magnifique, right? If you see your levels playing out like this on the chart, then of course you're doing something right. If you can see that your analysis is giving you price action wick to the dollar on something like this USDT dominance, guys, we're doing something right. And these are major levels, right? Have a look at that rejection absolutely perfectly at the median line of the upper half. All right, so I call this the quarter median line because it's the parallel channel which is in the upper half of our major upward sloping parallel channel here on USDT dominance. And we do have to just sit on our fingers a little bit here because really, in my opinion, this move is going to be nice. All right, USDT dominance is either going to pump, in which case we're going to dump, or USDT dominance is going to dump, in which case we're going to pump. So this is something really nice to keep your eyes on. And it's also quite nice and simple, which I really like. Okay, from there, I like to go to my BTC dominance. And of course, we're just still in the squeeze here. It's awesome to squeeze that the squeeze. It's awesome to see that the squeeze did play out really nicely. The last time we were really analyzing this squeeze was up here, and we were looking for the rejection of BTC dominance. We can see that our altcoins then did get the major pump and then the dump, and now we're getting the absolute confusion right in the middle of the squeeze. And again, a reason to just take it easy, guys. Take it easy on your scalp trades and your intraday trading, because when you see this, yeah, things can get really bad, right? In this zone. It means stops all over the place, people getting, it's like riding a rodeo bull, right? If you've ever ridden a rodeo bull, that's exactly what it's going to feel like trading this. And once we get the directional move, everything is going to get a lot easier because we're at least aware. Should we be longing Bitcoin? Should we be shorting Bitcoin? Should we be trading alts as opposed to Bitcoin? Should we be longing alts or should we be shorting alts, right? And if you want to understand more about the Bitcoin dominance cycle, please watch my last altcoin video that I dropped on Coinberry Trading, because I did, yeah, discuss that Bitcoin dominance cycle in quite some detail. All right, something important that I also like to look at as a leading indicator is this S&P, which I think we have been seeing a decent amount of movement here. And what's nice about the S&P is it's not crypto, right? So it plays out to technical analysis really nicely. It's a lot easier to understand than the crypto charts, and we can see that S&P is really having a hard time here. And this will be a nice catalyst for nice pumps on Bitcoin when it does turn around. Usually when it comes out of its major channel, this pipeline, it gives these V-shaped recoveries, which also end up playing out really nicely on Bitcoin. All right, but for now, we just have to hold tight because really S&P is something that only has trouble in the hardest, darkest times in the global economy. And other than that, it just keeps going up. So if we are seeing S&P struggling here, it means that something really interesting and important is happening in the global economy, right? Not just crypto. It affects our crypto very directly because these are our tech stocks, and obviously crypto is all based on tech, runs on tech, runs on servers. This is also interesting because AI, of course, is very involved in this, but this is something that you can do your analysis on and, yeah, obviously use it as a leading indicator for your crypto charts. If you are just analyzing crypto charts, then you can very often be caught out only using lagging indicators, right? And we can see on our Fibonacci retracement here that there is a 0.236 level being hit there. Guys, give me 1 minute quickly to get a drink of water. I will be back. All right, thanks for that, guys. I am back. Let me know if you're following the analysis here. And then one thing I actually want to look at here also is gold. See if we can find a nice straight up chart here. I think this one will give us nice history. All right, beautiful. So we are seeing this very nice support here coming in on gold. And yeah, I mean, this is big dumpage, guys. This is big dumpage on gold. I'm looking to actually get into a major swing on gold with leverage on like the gold stable coins on Bybit, the XAU, USDT, and the PAXG, as well as the Bybit TradFi platform. And I want you guys to help me out here, right? Because really this looks like we could be getting a bullish divergence coming in here, which is what I've been waiting for a very long time on the daily time frame. All right, this is something that takes years to happen. If we get a bullish divergence down here, it could be prices on gold that we never see again, right? Gold just goes up. That's what gold does. It goes up, comes down a little bit, it goes up, it comes down a little bit, it goes up, and it just keeps going up. And it's on a massive decade spanning exponential curve. And if we can get in on a bottom, it can be really nice, and it can obviously give us money to pour into our crypto trading. So we are seeing here on the daily the green dot coming in, which is hopefully our first of our bullish divergence patterns there. And wow, what's actually really interesting here is this gold versus BTC chart. Is everybody focusing? Nice. Yeah, it'd be so cool to have Jay here, right? I need to have a chat with him. I know he's just also so crazy busy with his own community. All right, so super interesting to see, right? Gold against Bitcoin, or Bitcoin against gold, is at a 3-year low. It's very clear, even from looking at this, that the ratio could get worse before it gets better. It doesn't look like an absolute bottom to me now, but it is just comforting, right? That when Bitcoin veers so far away from gold, it's actually telling us that when the bull kicks in, the catch-up period back up to the correlation, which is quite clear. All right, Bitcoin and gold have been correlating the entire trajectory of Bitcoin, but then they decorrelate for a while in the crypto bear markets, right? Where everyone wants to exit and capitulate, and then they recorrelate, which is why our bull markets feel like a roller coaster. Okay, I want to have a quick chat about this, guys. I don't know if BB is here with us, but it's quite an important conversation that I have been having with him, right? BB has been working now for 2 years on his trading, and he's actually been trading pretty much full time, and he's gone through different periods of winning and losing, and he's at the point now where he's done so much learning, right? He's been in lots of different communities, he's been in paid VIP groups, and he's literally in this right now, this valley of despair, right? Where you feel like you'll never understand it. You've put so much money in, you've put years of time that you could be putting into other industries, and usually it's so sad, but when people quit trading is usually when they're actually starting to really grow towards being a trader, but you can't see the growth when you're in it, right? Exponential growth is very difficult to understand when you're inside it. It's hard to have that perspective on your own growth from the outside, and it's so sad to me when I look at a trader like BB, one of the guys who have been most active recently in our community. I can see growth on a weekly basis, which is astounding. And he's in this place where he's like, I've been trading for 2 years. Why am I not earning like a monthly income off my trading? And it's very important to understand that this time that it takes, right, towards this enlightenment, and it literally is enlightenment. I'll be honest, like trading is not just about money. It's about actually learning to control your emotions. And I've spoken about this a lot before. It's one of the most fulfilling things you can do in life because it's one of the most challenging, right? If you want to be in the top 1%, don't think that it's going to be easy, guys, because 99% of people do quit. And this journey is literally pushing a boulder up a hill, and it feels literally like it's never going to end. The boulder's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're pushing it and you're pushing it and you're pushing it. And if you have the staying power to not give up and keep learning, one day something clicks. And for me, it was around the third year, 2.5 to 3 years, something started to click and the boulder started to roll down the other side and my P&L started to go up. And it really does take a long time, guys. And this, it can happen in 1 year, it can happen in 2 years, it can happen in 3 years. Some people can take 5 to 8 years for this to happen, depending on your aptitude for learning, how much effort you're putting into it, how much time you're putting into it. But my major advice here would be to make sure that you are, number one, taking it slow, right? So in those first 1 to 2 to 3 years, do not risk actual capital because that will make it so much harder and so much more depressing, right? That's where the despair comes in. You save money, right? So you work in other industries and you preserve your capital, right? This is really the psychological coaching that needs to happen. You need to understand that in trading, the number one thing is capital preservation above anything else. You cannot trade without capital. And if you trade with your capital too early, you will lose your savings and you'll make it harder for yourself once you do actually have the knowledge. All right, so you demo trade and you paper trade until you are so confident with your win rate on demo. And I get this all the time from students. I don't want to demo trade because it feels like I'm doing nothing. It feels like I'm wasting my time. You're 100% not wasting your time. Anytime a pro creates a strategy or adapts his strategy, or she, they go to demo and they back test it on hundreds of trades. If you use demo or paper trading, right? If you don't want to demo trade, paper trade. But I'm talking $10 trades, y'all. $10 trades. That's it. Max. And trust me, I've made thousands of dollars off even $10 trades. It's not like you can't make money. But what you're doing there is you are preserving your capital so that you can stack your savings for when you are actually a trader. You are not a trader until you've back tested your trading plan with the high win rate. Right? I'm being very brutal here because I want you guys to all hear this. You can't come into trading and just trade with real capital without a trading plan that's back tested because you're gambling and you will lose your money. The odds are 100% against you. The house will win. The volatility will win. The whales will win and they will take your money from you. Are you guys all hearing me, right? And everyone who loves BB like me and you know wants to support him, go into the Discord, tag him, and just tell him not to give up, guys. Tell him to go to demo, you know, focus on earning money in other industries, but like for him to give up after 2 years, he's done the majority of the work, right? And that really is when most people give up because you don't see your own growth. I don't know why my comments are like super delayed right now. All right, but I've been preaching and I hope everybody is hearing me. And let's just take a few minutes to go into some altcoin setups. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping the pro trader charts into the Discord. I'll try start that from tomorrow. We've got 14 billion in options expiring tomorrow. So please be careful on the charts tomorrow, as always, but a little bit more careful, right? Because 14 billion in options expiry is actually, it's a 3-month expiry. So it's going to be gnarly tomorrow. So please be very, very careful. Okay, let me open up some of these charts here that I have saved. And I've got a couple that I want to look at. Cardano, Avalanche, TRX, Solana, Gala, BNB. But let me know in the chat what you guys want to look at. All right, let's just check in on this ETH trade. All right, really nice, really nice. All right, let's just start simple with Cardano. And I want to keep these live sessions to 1 hour so that we feel like we can do them more often, right? And they're not this like huge thing. We can do them more often and everybody can stay from start to finish and get all of the important info. All right, so I'm going to zoom a little bit in here, and it's so crazy what's been happening on the charts, guys. And this is what I'm talking about. OBs just being annihilated, right? Because there's too much FOMO coming in, because it's all running on these, geopolitical announcements. But nice to see that the major levels are still playing out. So your analysis right now, in my opinion, should be based on very simple things, like the largest, most zoomed out support and resistance that you can find. And then also just be very aware of stop loss buffers, low leverage for very big wicks. All right, but you can see here on Cardano, the order blocks that I'm looking at. This was also in my last video. It's also on the Discord, so I'm not going to go too much into it now. Let's do a quick avalanche. Avalanche at least did respect the last 1 hour and 4 hour OB, right? It didn't give the sniper entry at the overlap, but it did respect the OB and it did give a very nice trade. I did drop this in the Discord, so I hope you guys have been paying attention there. The red dot did come in on the 4 hour time frame, and even a couple candles after the red dot, if you got in at the bottom there, you could have still ridden this trend a nice almost 5%. And yeah, nice to see a little bit of learning here on how to treat these OBs, right? When you see the OBs, watch the price acting within the OBs and then look for that market cipher signal. Then when you see the major trend in the reaction, that's when you can scalp down, right? And remember, these are scalp trades between the zoomed in 1 hour, 4 hour OBs. And this is the next level I'm looking at for a reaction. But of course, just be very careful on all of your trades at the moment. I think let's skip the Tron for now, and let's go to the Sol. I see BCH in the chat. Progress is invisible, 100%. Yeah, just drop him some love, right? Because, I mean, I know his history very well. I've been working with him quite closely, and it's been like so much bad luck, right? Which also happens. It does happen. Like he entered a Sol short trade, which was a little bit over leveraged and over margined. But then what happened is the whole market pumped and he was adding to the short, and then instead of just leaving the risk where it is, leaving the stop loss in, leaving the trade as it is, he decided, I'm sick of the stress. Let me close the Sol short trade. And he made about a $12,000 loss, which is not small for anyone, right? It's a huge amount of money. Like no one's going to scoff at $12,000, right? And that was like, it was a relief because you're out of this drawdown trade, but you also made a huge loss. And then what was so devastating is that Sol then went on to dump to his take profit where he would have made $100,000. And this kind of bad luck, it is what can drive you away from trading, right? But it is also the school fees that are absolutely invaluable. Learning from that can teach you more than anything I can tell you, right? Because as humans, we all need to make the mistakes for ourselves. And as long as you're making the mistake once, that's where you're really learning, right? And he deserves it. He's paid his dues. He deserves to make the money back that he has lost. All right, so let's just go out to the daily here on Sol. And I will just do a couple of your requests, guys, and we will hop off because I do want to keep these sessions a little bit more short and sweet. But yeah, this parallel channel is looking really nice. I love channels because they just make trading so easy. I love these channels, and we can see that we're at support here. We're not getting any nice signals for the entry on the daily. Let's go back to the 4 hour now. So this is where I would look out for that trigger wave. We can see that the last trigger wave that we got here on the 4-hour at support was a really nice trade from the bottom up to the median. And yeah, now we're waiting for that to play out once again. I'm going to keep it really simple there. I think let's just have a quick look at our 1-hour OBs here, because there is a nice range playing out. And yeah, man, I love smart money, guys. Practice your smart money because it becomes so simple. It becomes so quick and so simple once you practice it. And it really gives you these like zones, these alpha zones that you can then go look for the reaction and get some really nice trades. So there we go, right? Beautiful 1-hour order blocks here on Solana. Nice trading range. Something I also like about the smart money concept is how it gives you these 2 zones to scalp between, right? So if you enter at the bearish OB, you've got this nice move down to the bullish, and the same if you enter at the bullish, you've got this nice move up to the bearish, and then you can flip it. All right, I wanted to do Gala. Let's go to BNB. I don't think we've looked at BNB in a little while, and it is a coin that has been moving really nicely. Why am I losing my BNB? It should be here. 1 second. Ah, there it is. All right, market cipher a little bit confused here on the 1-hour. Very confused on the daily. So altcoins across the board are giving caution, right? Like even if you see a nice signal here on the 4-hour or the 1-hour and you see your daily looking like this, guys, just step back and just wait, because you don't want to throw money into a very, very confused market. Mistakes are signs of decision making. He'll get back stronger. And it's true. When you're making the mistakes, right, and you're making the losses, it means you are actually in the market, right? You're doing something. And yes, it should have been a paper trade, right? Because he's learning. It should have been either a demo backtest, or he should have stuck to his guns, right? Because you plan the trade and you trade the plan, and he hadn't hit his stop loss, right? So a few things were done wrong, because first of all, the stop loss amount was more than he was actually willing to lose, which is why he wasn't able to let the stop loss get hit, right? But if you plan a trade, you got to be able to trade the plan, right? Stop losses are there to be hit if the trade doesn't go your way. He would be $100,000 richer, and he would be a lot happier if he let the trade play out. But of course, it was the fear of how much drawdown he was in that he wasn't actually willing to risk any more drawdown. When you set a stop loss, that stop loss has to be how much you are willing to lose on your trading idea. I haven't traded yet, but your channel helps me learn indicators. Thanks for being so clear and calm. You explained very clearly. Sorry, I'm screaming today, guys, but like, I'm passionate about community, and I'm passionate about you guys, and like, I'm seeing how well you're doing, right? And I just, yeah, sometimes, forgive me, right? I get like, I care about you guys. Okay, cool. Boost, yeah, PIONEX. As we say in my country, ready for the first real trade. Nice, man. Okay, so you're taking it slowly. Happy Rooster. Lovely to see. What language is that? Boost, yeah, PIONEX. It sounds very dirty if I relate it to Afrikaans. Are you South African? Lovely to have you, man. Awesome. Take it slow. And yeah, I'm excited to see how you guys work with the Pro Trader charts that I will be dropping. Woman! Oh, we got a woman from Estonia. Welcome to the building. Woman power. And you know what? I've always thought this, but women make better traders, guys. Women make better traders than men because they don't have as much ego. It's just true, right? When a man enters a trade, they're like, I'm right. I'm big brain. I've got this. When a woman enters a trade, they're like, I could be wrong, right? And that's a huge, in my opinion, difference between men and women. But maybe that's too much of a generalization. Okay, so what we're seeing here across the alts is that, yeah, things are Things are crazy, guys. All right, we've had the BCH. I haven't actually traded BCH much. I invested in BCH like once it came out and I made decent money on it. It was good, but I haven't really traded it. Wow, cool. So it actually looks like it's behaving a little bit better than some of the other altcoins. Here. Bullish divergence down at the bottom around the 4th of March on the daily. The VWAP crossed at the bull. The money flow took a little bit of time to turn around, but it eventually did turn around. And then the bull did play out. 10%, not bad. And it's given us a red dot with VWAP crossing and money flow pointing down. Do you see how much better this daily market cipher looks than any other chart right now of the large caps? This does really look a little bit better, and we are getting a red dot. I would want to see some resistance really to short this. Does look possibly a little bit late to get into the short now. There we go. 4 hours. Looks like we should start trading BCH. There's a nice 4-hour trigger wave there from the bottom of the channel all the way up to the top. Then we had the bullish divergence at the dump of the median line down to the bottom. One of the only coins behaving right now. Okay, so we're looking for the trigger wave now on the 4-hour. Not bad. Let's go pop in some order blocks quickly. I think let's just keep it to the 4-hour because the 4-hour actually seems to be behaving. And here was the last 4-hour order block. And it was a little bit sketchy, but it did end up playing out. And this is why you wait for that reaction, right? And you wait for that other signal at your order block. Make sure you are getting confluence. I'd be very curious to see what the FRVP is telling us here. Interesting. Well, big value area, high volume node right there, where price is currently. POC still way further down. So it looks like there is still room in this short. I wouldn't hop in now. It's a little bit late. See how many candles how many candles ago that bearish divergence came in. Really with this coin, I would wait for this value area low. Because yeah, even this bullish order block is around POC. So it might give like a bounce, but technically not really a swing trade zone. And this one did play out nicely already. It's already been tapped. This one also already been tapped. So I think we're going to have to wait for some new information down in the bottom of that value area if we get there. Yeah, and maybe take that trigger wave if it comes in. I guess that would be a reason to take the bullish order block if the trigger wave comes in with nice confluence. But yeah, alts are tough right now, guys. Alts are super, super tough right now. Oh, we didn't look at total. Guys, we didn't look at total on the market charts. Y'all have to remind me. You need to be my co-pilots here. Right? When we're looking at USDT dominance, Bitcoin dominance, what, we need to look at total and total 3. So total is total market cap. And then total 3 is your altcoin market cap. And this is why things are so choppy, guys, because everything's super, super undecided here. Is this a bear flag or is this a bottom for our entire market cap? Honestly, I just want the blood now. Like a scenario here for me, you know, if you relate this to the Bitcoin chart, is that we go up for the 85K resistance, which would relate to us going up to retest that resistance there that we broke down on total market cap. And then the other side of it is this bear flag just coming in, and crypto loses a lot of money, right? Bitcoin, altcoins, everything loses a lot of money. And the sooner it happens, the better, really. But it looks like we're in for this accumulation zone in the bear winter, and we just have to deal with that. Where's our 6.8? Oh, that's the extension. All right, let's have a look. Where's our 6.8 here? Right there at the target of the bear flag. You can see why this weekly analysis on total 3 is so important. It gives you so much perspective. Right, we could be seeing major dumps. Our first real support was the 6.8, which is the start of the golden pocket, right? The middle of the golden pocket is really the juice zone. Really the juice zone and the last hope. And what's scary here is if that doesn't give us our bounce, it's over, and it's Elliott wave all the way down to the 1 level. All right, study Elliott wave if you don't know about it. I'm going to make a video on it. Let me actually add it to the list. But we could easily see a full retracement all the way down. And I mean, that's where this is really, if capitulation comes in there, that could easily happen. Okay, let's go to total 3 now. The squeeze is on. The squeeze with the fake outs. All right, we are once again retesting the top of the symmetrical triangle. Looks good, excuse me. Breakout. Oof, beautiful. High volume zone tapped. Yeah, another nice way to trade alts here is to trade this total 3, right? If you look at the fixed range volume profile here on this daily time frame, you can quite easily and clearly identify this high volume zone between those 2 big nodes. And if you pull out your volume box here, that was a sniper rejection zone. And if you shorted alts there, really no matter which alt you shorted, you made a nice move. Right, all the way back down. And then we saw that it was a fake out back into the triangle. Now we got another breakout, and now we're retesting. So again, it's absolute rodeo. Absolute rodeo, because we should be getting a nice direction here, but we're just not. Either we're going to get a beautiful retest, or we're going to go back into the squeeze and a nice direction down, or we're going to get a fake out to the bottom, back up. It's not a nice time, guys. But anyway, here's the other high volume that we could get another sniper long move for alts. All right, let's look at XRP. And then I think we're going to call it. Let me know if there's any alts in the chat that you really want me to look at. And then keep your eyes on that Discord for the new room that I'm going to drop in there. And just backtest it for yourself, right? The first few trades you take on those pro traders charts, do them on demo or do them on super paper trades like $5 or $10. Right? Get to know the style, and of course do your own analysis on the trades. I'll start with just the swing trades, not the scalp trades, right? So you get a feel of their analysis. All right, XRP is at one of our zones. Let's see what happens here. There's a nice daily bullish order block here. And I would say there's a nice little bit of median support and resistance there. See this median line of the bottom half. So that bottom quarter median line now in confluence with this daily bullish order block. And let's get this nice and exact, and we'll quickly overlap it with the 4 hour. All right, the 4 hour now, the order block has also been tapped. And then quickly do the 1 hour. This is where it gets a little bit more tricky on the SMC, but the more you do it, the more it will make sense. All right, here is your downtrend. Then you look for where that trend changed its character and broke its structure, which is, you know, clearly here where it's made a higher high and then a higher low. And then you look at your previous candle in the opposite direction, which you could either say is this guy right here or this guy right here. And for the sake of, you know, being the sniper, I would choose the bottom one. A little bit lower risk. And then there you go. You got a triple time frame overlap. And it gives you a little bit of space now before hitting that zone. You can see how confused Market Cypher is here. It's crazy. But there we go. It looks like we're setting up for a 4-hour trigger wave here. So just draw in these OBs for yourself. Look at this 1-hour OB and try and see if you can get the confluence of your trigger wave at the 1-hour OB. I'm getting there, bro. Can you tell? I'm finally getting there with the SMC. And watch the tutorial on the order blocks. I'm going to do some more in-depth SMC tutorials as well because I'm finally starting to get a better hang of it. I am not man. I love that. Yeah, definitely Estonian. That's true, guys. Women make great traders because they're so like, there's all of, you know, men always want to tell women that they're like hysterical and over emotional, but men are just so like egotistical in their own masculine nature, right? That toxic masculinity. Like always thinking you're right is obviously not a good trade. Very hardworking, deserves all the wins. The few weeks I've known him, I've come to respect his dedication. 100%. So please give him love in the Discord, guys. I know he's taking a bit of a screen break and a trading break, which has also been my advice to him, right? If you're in like despair, you have to go into nature, you have to step back and yeah, just show him the love in the Discord, guys. Tag him, show him the love. Only move stops when you're already in profit. This is some of the best advice that you can get. If you place a stop, be ready to have that stop hit. Boftrix, I saw your P&L share. Well done, man. It seems like you've been smashing some profits, and in this market, that is, yeah, very, very well done. Total 2.43 trillion, heavy support and resistance, same 2.33 trillion, pretty much fresh air panic gap in between. Nice analysis. So that's on total. All right, guys, we have to hop off because I'm losing my voice and I've got to edit this video for tomorrow, which I think is quite important. Oh yeah, my total's down here. All right, let's go to the weekly for this. $2.43. It's not one of the Fibonacci's on my chart. It's like just below the 0.5 Fibonacci. But yeah, very nice, man. Very nice. You know, very solid. Very, very solid support and resistance flip. We saw it here. Tested, tested, tested. Broken through, retested. Mitigation all the way down. Broken through, retested. All right, so very nice level to watch there, the 2.43. Thank you, Boftrix. And there are some nice clusters you can do here with your Fibonacci also. So, like if you go here and you take your Fibonacci from your wicks and your bodies at different times, you will get nice little clusters there, which I find do help. So if you go from wick, to wick on your Fibonacci, all right, you'll get one level. And then if you go from body to body, you'll get another level, right? And then you can actually draw those out as little zones. And you can see here that, yeah, this zone is pretty much what you're talking about. It comes down to about 2.45 trillion, but that's the very important support and resistance flip zone. And then what's your other one? 2.33. Oh, yes, down at the bottom of that wick. Very nice. Round about where price is now. And then really what's going to be super important is this level again at the 0.618. And then very much so right in the middle here of our golden pocket. That's going to be do or die. And really what I think is going to happen here is going to be pretty harsh, guys. It's going to be this. Drop down to the bottom of the golden pocket and then fake out below. That's going to be our bear market crypto winter, and then everything's going to come right. That's my personal opinion. Love for the woman. Let's go. All right. I'm glad I can make you laugh, Silas. All right. So what I'll do is I'll drop Husseini's journal app link into the Discord, guys. So if anybody wants to journal it, journal their trades, please do, try out his app, test it out, and give him the feedback, right? Avalanche short 9.76, got 1 hour, moved stop loss entry, and got hit. Bit better feeling, but capital protection first. Got 1 hour, moved stop loss to entry. So we heard Tuffy say in one of our other streams, right, that in these kinds of markets, you have to be more comfortable with taking less max profits. And he said that right now, for him, he's a pro trader. For him, a 1-to-1 R is fine, and he's actually willing to close the trade there. And if he gets a 1-to-1 R, it's a win for him. And what I find also is very often, in choppy markets like this, you'll get to a 1-to-1 R, you'll take 25% of profits, and then you'll get stopped out at break even. And it actually makes more sense to just take all the profits at that 1-to-1 R, right? Because the market's so choppy. So that's just something to think about. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We did do well with 1 hour and 26 minutes. We are going to get to doing these sessions shorter. There's lots of other setups I have here, but yeah, we're going to call it a day for now. And I will make sure to open that group. I'll start sharing those other pro traders charts. Please take it slow, take it carefully. Make sure you're managing your position size and your risk. Do not cry to me, right? If you wreck your portfolio on these trades. I want to see margin management, risk management, and I also want to see your own analysis. I'm going to have the room, which will just be a channel where I'll be dropping them. And then in the trading setups, I want to see you guys saying, oh, that's an interesting idea, but no, I'm not going to take it because of this. Or, oh, yes, maybe I'll take it because of this, but my entry is going to be slightly different because of this, and my stop loss will be slightly different because of this. Is that all making sense? All right, I will be live on the MUBITE Discord tomorrow also. It's going to be a super volatile day tomorrow, so I think it will be quite fun to do some live trading, especially on MUBITE, where we're using less leverage and the risk is very well managed. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you haven't smashed the likes, please do that. Share the stream so everybody can catch up. Please make sure you touch some grass over this weekend. And well done, everyone. You're acting as a community. The community is growing. I am very proud to see that. And thank you for spending this time with me. I do appreciate it. Please remember my advice. Always play from a position of power and strength. Use your stop loss and do not get wrecked. So much love and respect. I will see you all in the community. Peace out.